9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing all? I've lost my words there. How are we doing? Sam here, United People's TV. It is Thursday, the 23rd of June. No, we have not made a signing. No, I'm not here to talk about a new signing. We're here, unfortunately, I would say unfortunately, to talk. I'm not one for fear-mongering, right? I'm not one to spread negativity. But at this moment in time, I don't think you can ignore the elephant in the room anymore. That's what I said in the comments before the stream. And it's something that I stand by. You'll see that I did 2 videos yesterday. I always said I was going to do 2 videos yesterday. I did one on what clearly has become Manchester United's transfer strategy this summer. And that's us looking for former Ajax players. Erik ten Hag obviously doesn't think that he can trust this scouting network. We don't really have a scouting network. We sacked Marcel Bout and Jim Lawler. So I don't even know if we've got a scouting network. But we're here to talk about everything that developed yesterday on Antony and Lisandro Martinez. If you watched my video last night, you would have seen a lot of it. I'm going to run through what I said there, and I want to have a wider discussion about Manchester United's transfer window so far, what's to come. Now, I've repeated that I think the Manchester United fans will be happy come the end of the transfer window, and I still stand by that. But I tell you what, I don't think it looks particularly good for our approaches for Antony and Martinez, and I'll explain exactly why I'll explain exactly why. Who's down in the comments? Fred, good morning to you. Nilanjan, I can see you there as well. Manoil, Steve, good morning to you. Malps, Ian, I can see you here. What are you doing, you stranger? Anthony, Paula, who else we got down here? Rego, we got Daisy. Good morning to all the regulars. Jason, Tun, Sigmund, as always, and who else we got? Ricky Thompson and Sam. How you doing? I know we haven't made any signings. I know it's fucking frustrating, and I apologize for swearing there. Yeah, maybe I'll just do this. I think Wackham's got a good point here. I should just stop the channel. Should just stop talking about Manchester United. Wackham, you're probably in the wrong place to ask that, my friend. I'm here every single morning, 9:30 a.m., and I will give you the latest Manchester United news, stories, discussions, and talking points. Because every day there is something new to talk about, whether it's a new angle, whether it's something brand new. What I want to focus on today, to begin with, is Ajax. It's clear that's where Erik ten Hag is focusing his efforts on. We know he's focusing his efforts on De Jong. So I will run through an important few comments from David Ornstein speaking. What was he speaking on? A podcast, I think. He was speaking on, what was it? He was speaking on BBC Radio 5 Live. Sod it. Let's start with that, all right? Let me start with David Ornstein's comments on 5 Live about Manchester United's pursuit of Frenkie de Jong, because I want to speak about Antony. I want to speak about Martinez. I want to speak about the fears this summer. I don't personally have too many fears that Frenkie de Jong won't happen. I think Frenkie de Jong will happen. I think it will be an incredible signing, a transformative signing. But it is really delaying things now. And if you can read this from David Ornstein, it may well explain exactly why. This is what he said. He said, Frenkie de Jong is Erik ten Hag's core priority. We know that already, right? That's the one he wants the most. It's going to be extremely difficult because Barca are going to demand a really high transfer fee, and he has a high salary too. Indications is that the player will be open to joining, but there's a standoff between United wanting to underpay and Barca wanting Manchester United to overpay. But United want to build around him, or at least Ten Hag does. He is the apple of Ten Hag's eye. That's the #1 target for Manchester United in the transfer window. And any other signings he will look to do will come once they have got a bit of clarity on that main one. After De Jong, they want to sign Eriksen. But basically what he's saying here is exactly that. That Erik ten Hag won't really make any more signings until he's got this one done. And that, it's really hampered Manchester United in this window because I've told you, I said the one currency that Manchester United don't value correctly is time. It's time, man. Sorry, my microphone is not central. There you go. It's a little bit better. Man United don't seem to understand the importance of time and how that can affect what money you've got to pay and how that can affect the transfer situations that you can get into. I don't think we'll get into a deadline day signing situation this summer. But because we've taken so long, look, it's nearly 2 goddamn weeks. 2 weeks nearly now since that first bid went in for 60 million and 10 million add-ons. We knew that that was going to get rejected out of hand. It was the beginning of the negotiation tactics. That's perfectly normal. I don't begrudge United for trying that. I do begrudge United for taking nearly 2 weeks for this second one to go in. So, Radu, you can say here, look, why waste so much time on De Jong? If at this point, ladies and gents, you can't understand why Frenkie de Jong is Man United's absolute priority, then you really haven't thought about it enough. Erik ten Hag is a system manager. And he is probably, I reckon if Erik ten Hag was going to say, which players who have played in your system, which would you say were like the crown jewels? I imagine he's probably going to put Frenkie de Jong at the top of that list. He really was the architect of that 2018-19 Ajax team. He was the centerpiece of that team. And he needs that at Manchester United. So that's why I keep saying Frenkie de Jong, it's more than just a signing for Erik ten Hag. That's why it's verging on obsession at this point. But United know that. And Barcelona know that. But still we're haggling. Because the bottom line is still the most important thing to Manchester United. Well, to the Glazers anyway. Ian, a rarity to see here. Well, how you doing, buddy? Saying, I understand they get 100% of any fees if they sort their finances off by selling off an arm of the club. Now, this is something I got some clarity on yesterday. Is it that one there? Because if you think about the De Jong situation, I've tried to get this explained in quite a lot of detail here on United People's TV. But I tell you what, it is really complicated. Barcelona's finances, I believe by the 30th of June, they have to present their latest balance sheets, which means the profit and loss accounts for the previous year. If they were to sell, and I spoke to Samuel Marsden from ESPN, and he half confirmed this, but even somebody like Samuel Marsden working for ESPN can't 100% explain this situation because it's really complicated. It really is. And this is all playing into why this has been such a delayed transfer. At the moment, if we sold Frenkie de Jong, and that was to go straight into Barcelona's books, they could only spend 33% of that money on new signings and new wages because Frenkie de Jong would represent more than 5% of the total wage bill. So if they get rid of that, they were allowed to invest 33%. If it's less than 5%, they're only allowed to invest a quarter. Trust me, this is complicated as hell. And I'm not making this up. This is all, as I said, all part of the reason as to why this has taken so long. But, and this is the question I asked, if Barcelona can get the money in, they can sell off 10% of their TV rights and they get a big injection of 200 million, and that happens before the 30th of June, it means that if Barcelona then sell Frenkie de Jong after the 30th of June, because their profit and loss accounts are balanced, they would then be allowed to spend 100% of the money they get from Frenkie de Jong. So you see here, this is the point I'm trying to make. It suits Barcelona if they delay de Jong, right? And that's the thing that I don't personally think that anybody is really saying enough of. All this situation, it plays into Barca's hands. They want this de Jong situation to be a little bit more delayed, or you just pay everything up front. But then you could also say at the same time, well, surely that Manchester United and Barcelona could agree to sell Frenkie de Jong, but then not actually register it until after the 30th of June. Therefore, both can be done at the same time. And I do agree with that as well. But trust me, Manchester United just somehow like to get involved in transfer situations where there are so many things juggling at the same time, and are quite a few things outside of our control. And we've got into it with Frenkie de Jong with Barcelona, and we've now got into it with Ajax, with Antony and Lisandro Martinez. And I will explain that next. I'm going to head down here and explain a few. I'll try and read what you're saying. The most annoying thing, says Connor, is that we will end up paying what Barcelona want. We need Frenkie de Jong. It's at this point in time that Barcelona, they know, they can smell the desperation on us. And when you're in that sort of position, you can't really negotiate too much. You have to pay. And I told you that the Liverpool and the Núñez situation is the best example. Liverpool knew that Núñez wasn't worth 100 million. But to Liverpool this summer, he was worth 100 million. There's a difference in what a player might be worth in the market and what he might be worth to a club selling them or a club buying them. And for Manchester United, De Jong is everything. If De Jong, as long as De Jong comes in this summer, we will see a dramatic difference inside our team next year. On his own, he can't do it, but he will be the first piece of the jigsaw, and it has to be him. And that's what I'm saying. I prepared a video a while ago on 5 Frenkie de Jong alternatives, and the reality is there isn't one. There is no player who could do what Frenkie de Jong could do on the same level. Every other player is a compromise to Frenkie de Jong. Jamil, you're saying that at this point I won't even be happy on signing de Jong after missing out, and that's definitely going to be part of what a lot of United fans feel. Just so much frustration that they then can't enjoy signing Frenkie de Jong. I completely disagree with that. I think Frenkie de Jong will be an incredible signing, and I'll be so excited for it. But it won't be good enough on its own. Tim, it's we make it difficult for ourselves. We really, really do, man. There's a lot of self-inflicted problems coming into this transfer window. Fred, you're saying, look, Sam, are Barcelona selling anybody else and they are in the same situation? No. At this moment in time, you're not hearing much about any other player who could leave Barcelona on the same scale as Frenkie de Jong, because I'll be honest, there really are none. Richie, you're saying, look, I'm just sick of hearing about this now. It's dragging on too long. Pay the money and get him for the manager, then move on to the next target. I completely do agree with that. It is at this point where Manchester United, we're between a rock and a hard place. But if we're still focusing on that bottom line, that's coming from top down. That's coming from the Glazers and Richard Arnold telling John Murtough, no, this is the max you can pay. Negotiate. Go and do your job. That's not allowing him to do his job properly. Ultimately, it'll make John Murtough look like the problem. But if we're not paying the right money and we were willing enough to go in with a bid of 60 plus 10, then it goes to show that John Murtough is in there, is negotiating, but he doesn't have enough money, isn't being given enough money at this moment in time to get the player that he wants to sign. And of course, he wants to sign him for him. Mo, you're joining as a member. Welcome to the family, buddy. Let me know where you're watching from. I'll try and give you a shout out. Memento, I can't disagree anymore. I think Frenkie de Jong will sign for Manchester United. I absolutely will. But at this point, as David Ornstein explained here, Erik ten Hag won't make any signings until he has clarity on Frenkie de Jong. And Joe, this is an excellent comment here, because this is 100% true. And it's that oxymoron, really, that paradox. We get annoyed when we overpay, and then impatient because we won't overpay. It's completely true. But Manchester United have got so much to do this summer that we need to overpay now for Frenkie de Jong to clear the decks, to allow us to focus elsewhere. Because I tell you what, we are not looking very good when it comes to what's going on with Ajax, with Antony, and with Lisandro Martinez. And I will get into that next. Explain the video I did yesterday and the updates from Mike Vivage and the Telegraph. Ray, nice to see you there this morning, buddy. How you doing? Saying, hi, Sam. This is the difference between us and Liverpool. Liverpool knew Mane were going, so they could pay the money to replace him. We knew we needed De Jong, but we would rather heckle. It's simpler. What happened with Liverpool this summer? One strike, one attacker leaving, one attacker coming in. We're getting how much for Mane? Probably about 40. How much we want to pay for him? Probably about 100. Cool, done, easy, boom. Their transfer business is done. But ours isn't. Not with De Jong, not with De Jong and Eriksen, not with De Jong, Eriksen and Martinez. There's so much that needs to be done this summer, and that's it's the time. Time is the commodity that we need to value so much more than we ever have. Ryan, you joined as a member as well. Let me know where you're watching from, buddy. It's great to see how many people are joining the gang, joining the community. Make sure, Ryan and Mo, that you check out the community tab and join the Telegram and the members group as well. It's a cracking place to be. Jibak saying, I'm not a tactician like Erik ten Hag, but I have no idea how Frenkie de Jong will transform our side when there's a gaping hole in the ball-winning role in the team. I'd explain that. I've already got all those videos lined up. He can't do it on his own, but he can do a hell of a lot in shifting a mentality, and that's what I will explain. I'm interested in the comments today, so I'm going to read quite a few of your comments out. Okay, Daisy, how you doing there? Nice to see you. I think Antony will be our first signing. Okay, I disagree on that one. And Barca will sell Frenkie de Jong to us, but they want as much as they can get because they really can't lose any more money. I don't personally think that Antony will be the first signing. And of course, Barca are just trying to squeeze and squeeze and squeeze. And it's what happens when you come into a set of negotiations where it's not simple. Barcelona have got external pressures pulling them in certain directions, forcing them to the negotiation table with a different mentality, with different pressures. At Manchester United, we don't really have those pressures this summer. We've got a budget. We've got a new manager. Let's go and sign players for him. But then you negotiate with a club that doesn't want to sell a player, with a player that doesn't want to be sold, with a club that's in serious financial debt, political games. I don't know what to call it, but it's difficult. Bjorn saying, I'm worried about our defense and our defensive midfield. Well, you know what I think about that. But let me explain the latest on Antony, on Martinez, and then I'll explain the latest on Christian Eriksen, and we'll have a discussion in the comments, as we always do. Right, let me start. As I said, this was a very important update from Mike Vivide from The Telegraph yesterday, which I felt obliged to do a video, which I did last night, right? He said, look, this is what Mike said on Telesport. He said, there is a lot of interest for Martinez, Antony, and Timber. We already know that, right? Especially from Manchester United. But it's almost ruled out that they will leave Ajax due to their price tags. 70 to 80 million for Antony, 50 to 60 million for Martinez and Timber. Now, you would be completely correct by saying there is no chance they are worth that. And Ajax know that. And that's the difference. That is the thing that I tried to explain in my video yesterday, is that because Manchester United are late to the party with this one, the difficulties here with Ajax are all related again to time. Time of us sitting at the negotiation table with Ajax. And this is why that is the case. Because they have already sold Sebastian Haller. 35 million, he's going to be joining Borussia Dortmund. Added on to the fact that they've already sold Ryan Gravenberch to Bayern Munich for 16 million pounds, I believe, roughly thereabouts. And they've lost Mazraoui on a free transfer to Bayern Munich. So that's 3 of their starting 11 from last season. They've already been sold. And then at this moment in time, Edson Alvarez is looking like he will be sold as well. Interest from Premier League clubs is growing, but it's clear that Leipzig would like to sign Edson Alvarez from Ajax. He will cost around 30 million euros. Alfred Schroeder, the new Ajax manager, doesn't see the player as part of his plans for next season. So this is the point that I was trying to raise when I was speaking about Antony and I was speaking about Martinez, because that price tag, way over market value. If we're being completely honest, you're looking at someone like Martinez, somewhere between 30 and 40 million, I think would be a reasonable price. A good price is a good price for a centre-back of his quality from that division. Nobody would be offended if we spent that much on him. Antony, he's one of those types of players, 45 to 55 maybe. I would say in that region, let's call it 50. If for all intents and purposes, let's call it 50. So I think you're looking reasonably at somewhere between 80 and 90 million pounds for both of them. Not 130 million euros. But that's the price tag they are putting on them, because they are now in a position where Ajax do not need to sell. If you were to look at Ajax's transfer history and how much money they make on a summer-by-summer basis, obviously when their 2018-19 team got ripped apart, they made like 200 million. They always spend like in between 20 and 60 million, roughly, in the transfer window. But they've already made 15 million from Ryan Gravenberch. They're about to make 30 million from Sebastian Haller. And Edson Alvarez, if they sell him too, that's 75 million pounds. That is more than enough for Ajax already, which means they're in a position, they're in a position of power. They're in a position where Dortmund were with Sancho, because they didn't want to sell Sancho the summer where Manchester United went in for him. Therefore, they could just asked for 130 million. It's an outrageous price, but if we paid it, we would have got him. If we pay 130 million, we're signing both of them. But we're not. You know we're not. You know we're not going to pay over market value for those two players. But because we've sacked our scouting department, because there's nobody inside that club that Erik ten Hag can trust to bring in the players that he wants, he's understandably, for this summer alone, taking it upon himself to really force the issue with the players that he wants. That's why we've gone so hard after Frenkie de Jong. That's why we've not really... You heard anything about Pau Torres? No, not much. Not recently, anyway. What about Christopher Nkunku? No, not much. Not really. We're focusing on Ajax players because that's what Erik ten Hag wants. But because we're late to that table, we're late to the negotiation table with Ajax. If we had spoken to Ajax for these two players 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, before the idea of Sebastian Haller even leaving was a conversation, then it would have been Borussia Dortmund who ran into problems trying to sign Sebastian Haller. And we would have been able to sign one or either of Martinez or Antony. But remember, 4 weeks ago, it was all about Jurrien Timber. And then Jurrien Timber's head either got turned by Louis van Gaal or he just turned it himself and felt that Ajax and Champions League football next season was the greatest short-term opportunity for him to get into the Dutch squad. And that was a decision that he made himself. Ajax is financially, Ajax have got a business model which completely works for them. And yes, Ajax are a selling club. I know they are. But they've already sold. That's the issue here. So if we're to try and get Martinez and Antony, that would mean 5 out of their starting 11 and their manager is left within the space of 1 year. That's not a sustainable amount of change. Therefore, the only way that they can justify that is if they get a ridiculous amount of money. And that's the position they are in. And given how Manchester United haggle and haggle and haggle, do you really think we're going to overpay for Martinez and Antony? You can let me know what you think about that in the comments below. I'm going to read a few of your comments out. Manor was saying, hi, Sam, just read that Fletch told Erik ten Hag that you can use Harry. I just threw up. I just threw up in my mouth. Twice. Jeez. Somebody DM'd me the other day. He goes, Sam, what do you think about Wan-Bissaka as a CDM? People, come on. My DMs are open, but don't be sending me stupid things like that. It's not going to happen. Let me see what else you're saying down here. Give them 60 million for both and include Pereira and Twanzebe. I mean, you make it sound so simple, right? Make it sound so simple. Do you think City and Barca can do it? No, I don't think Silva's going anywhere near Barca. I don't know why that's even a conversation. Really is so stupid. Really is so stupid. Name unknown. You say maybe get left back, right back, and 2 midfielders, go for Timberley and Antony, and attack next season. I don't know. I don't know where United have forced ourselves into a corner here by taking so long to sign Frenkie de Jong and Eriksen. Right, let's leave it on that one there. That's a nice little graphic there. Look at that one. Woohoo. Do you like the graphics? Yeah. Make sure you drop a like on the video if you do like the graphics. I do like them. We have spent I would say at this point an unreasonable amount of time on the Frenkie de Jong situation. To go 2 weeks between our first bid and nothing really has changed in these 2 weeks is an outrageous sign that we just aren't capable in the transfer window. And I told you this was when my personal frustration was going to switch. I thought up until that bid went in, it felt like everybody's feelings were a little bit exaggerated. And I tell you what here, right? One thing I want to say quickly. Don't come at me saying, Sam, look, I told you. I was completely right. I've been proven correct. I've been saying this for the last 7 weeks. You gain nothing from that. You win nothing. Nobody wins if you're right about United being shit in the transfer window, all right? So it's the strangest thing to brag about. Oh, I was the first person to say that. Like, you win nothing, all right? Everybody's got these fears about Manchester United in the summer transfer window because of what the club has taught us over the last 10 years. It's how United act in a transfer window. But you hope that all the structural differences behind the scenes would have brought a different approach this summer. At this moment in time, it's being proven that that is not the case. All right? I still think we'll sign Frenkie de Jong. I still think we'll get these two signings over the line. Kind of no problem. I say no problem. Lots of problems. But I think we'll get Eriksen, and I think we'll get Frenkie de Jong. Famous last words here from Sam. But I think we'll get both of those signings. And yes, that will definitely change our ability in possession with chance creation and build-up play, for sure. But it does not fix the spine of this team. It does not fix the spine and the strength of this team. We still need a new ball-playing centre-back to begin the movements from our goalkeeper. Somebody who De Gea can give it to with utter confidence. Utter confidence that they are going to just bring the ball through and not just pass it back to De Gea to hoof. We don't have that player. That was either going to be Martinez or Timber. Timber's not happening. Martinez at this moment in time, I'm telling you. Yeah, right. Let me rewind here and go back to this, right? Do you think that we could still sign both of those? I might be wrong here. You might disagree, right? You might disagree and say, no, Sam, I think you're wrong. I think Ajax is still a selling club. I think Ajax, yeah, they may have sold Haller, they may have sold Gravenberch and Mazraoui's left, and it looks like Edson Alvarez might be leaving too, but they're a selling club, man. They will take money and they will sell them. How much do you think? Because, as I said, Mike Ravage there going and saying 130 million for those two players. It's an unreasonable amount of money, but Ajax are doing it for that reason. They want it to seem unreasonable to fend off interest. Michael, you're saying, I think we will get one, and more than likely it will be Antony. Now, the video I'm going to be doing later today, I'm going to cover the reports about Michael Edwards and Manchester United's necessity for a transfer guru, right? Reports for yesterday from the Daily Mail, confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, on Manchester United's hunt for this new transfer guru, that person that we know we need. That's going out this afternoon, but maybe tomorrow or maybe later on today. It depends how nice I'm feeling. I'm going to do a video on Lisandro Martinez or Antony, because I think at this moment in time, given the requirements of us this summer, I think we're going to be forced to choose between Martinez or Antony. I don't think we can get both of them. I reckon you can get one, but I don't think you can get both of them. Let me go down here and see what you're saying. Don't give up on Timber. Okay. The Timber story's gone very, very, very quiet, isn't it? Johnson is saying, this brings me to the poor planning I referred to with United. We could have got an Antony and whoever at reduced rates if we had gone in early. It goes down to the priority list. Manchester United had that list drawn up, and there was only one man at the top of it. Clear as day who the number one target was. Therefore, that's where all United completely and utterly focused. Let me go down here. I mean, as I said, there's no chance it's going to be that cheap. I might be wrong. Maybe I'm just listening to what Mike Ravage is saying too much, and I'm giving him too much credence. But I just do not think that Ajax do not need to sell this summer now. Not after Haller's gone. And if they sell Edson Alvarez, even more so. So the only way they sell is if they get an outrageous amount of money. That's just the way it is. This is completely true as well, Jedi. Look, what about Martial? What about Erik Bailly, Phil Jones, Andreas Pereira, Dean Henderson? Looks like Dean Henderson's going to Nottingham Forest, but that's the least exciting thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Jonathan, you're completely right with that as well. Could have got from Gravenberch if they went earlier. Yeah, all ifs and buts. We definitely could have. That was probably, yeah, I suppose in that sense, you could say if Manchester United had wrapped up a deal for Ten Hag earlier rather than delaying those initial conversations. Remember how long that interview process was? I mean, we made the right decision. But why couldn't we make that right decision earlier? You can call it due diligence, whatever it was. We made the right decision with Ten Hag. But had we maybe made that decision a little bit earlier, it would have given Ten Hag the opportunity to try and sway Ryan Gravenberch to come in towards Manchester United instead of going towards Bayern Munich. Imagine we got him for 20 million. Jeez. Estevo, what are you saying here? I think we had a shortlist that was compiled by Ragnick. I think the shortlist flew out the window when Ten Hag made it clear he wanted full control. I think you're absolutely spot on in that sense. Manchester United, as I said, look, we sacked our scouts. Jim Lawler and Marcel Bout sacked. Even if they made a shortlist, that shortlist would have been completely dashed. Because you're not going to keep something that you're not going to sack a member of staff and then keep the work that they've done because you think it's good. You literally just sack that member of staff. So you sack them because they're not good enough, right? Obvious. So Erik Ten Hag came in. Therefore, there's no scouting department that he can trust. Ralph Rangnick has compiled a short list of players that he feels would suit what Manchester United need. but he doesn't trust Ralph Rangnick. That's why Ralph Rangnick's not at the club anymore. If he wanted to really listen to Ralph Rangnick's opinion, Ralph would have been kept on as a consultant. Ten Hag didn't feel that he needed that voice. You all know what I think about the Rangnick situation. So therefore, it's effectively Ten Hag going, these are the players I need. I need a player of this ilk. He would have done lots of his research. Ten Hag isn't making these decisions without doing his own. He's known as somebody who is extremely meticulous. Does a lot of planning, Erik Ten Hag. So if he's going after these players, he thinks that they fit exactly what he needs. It's just that, as I said, we're a little bit late to the table with Antony, a little bit late to the table with Martinez. It makes it 10 times more difficult for us because we've just been focusing on De Jong, which isn't a bad thing. But given it's taken so long, it's now growing into a bad thing. Dusan, he's saying Ajax went on past the group stages in Champions League the last 3 years because we don't sell everything. We need a good squad next year too. And you've got a new manager. And there's no doubt they're going to be signing Steven Berghaus. No, not Berghaus. Bergwijn from Spurs. And no doubt they'll make a couple more signings. But I don't know, man. United, I worry about what's going to happen. Because I think, realistically, you're getting one of the... If you're going to sign somebody from Ajax, you're going to sign one of the two. You're not signing both of them. And in my opinion, I don't even think it's slightly close as to which one of those players I think Manchester United need more. I think it's... I would just forget Antony existed for a season. It would be pure Martinez that I'll be going after, and it wouldn't even be a conversation. My opinion there. As I said, I'm going to do a video on this separately, maybe tomorrow, maybe at the weekend. But in terms of what United need, Antony is more down as a luxury. And I know that we need a right winger. Okay, we need a right winger. But we need a centre-back, a ball-playing centre-back, more than we need a right winger. Hey, look, Jonathan, let's hope so. Could be a red herring, and hope so, as Pau Torres is better. Well, that's down to an opinion more than anything else. But maybe United are going to surprise us. Remember, we were saying that a week or two ago. United are surprising us. All our stuff's going on behind the scenes. We're going to be very happy. I hope so. I still completely hope so. Let's find out. I'm going to head down to the comments here and see what you're saying. If you're new, by the way, as I said, I say this is an interactive show. I genuinely mean it's an interactive show. I read as many of the comments as I possibly can throughout the entire stream. And I too try to answer as many of your questions as possible. Michael, you're saying, what is Erik Ten Hag's reaction going to be like on Sunday? Going to be Monday, the state of lack of transfer. Sorry, sometimes you don't all put full sentences and it kind of throws me off. He's not going to be happy. Of course he's not going to be happy. I mean, that is an absolute given. Sanjay, it is not the time for Barry. Barry is sitting there waiting, and Barry will come out, and we'll know when Barry's coming. But don't worry about that. What are the next talking points? Of course, yeah, look, Manchester, as just a personal opinion here, I've said this before, I think we're going to get Eriksen and we're going to get De Jong. I don't really think those two, I'm not particularly concerned about those. I mean, of course, I'm concerned how long De Jong's taken, but I think De Jong will happen. So I'm looking at focusing more really on what comes next. And I think that needs to be probably a centre-back. We all thought it was that attacking that versatile forward. Shit, I still think we need a ball-winning central. Who am I kidding? We still need that ball-winning central. We're not going to get a defensive midfielder, but we need a central midfielder whose natural instinct is to think defending rather than natural instinct is to think bring the ball forward. Christian Eriksen, naturally an attack-minded midfielder. Frenkie de Jong, naturally a forward-thinking midfielder. We need somebody who balances that. And it's not going to be a pure and utter ball winner, a pure and utter defensive midfielder. I think what it's obviously going to be is to possession-based central midfielders, but you need a central midfielder, possession-based central midfielder, whose natural instincts are defensive. And Fred is not that guy. A couple of you type in Fred in the comments. It's not Fred. Fred is a naturally forward-thinking midfielder. Shit, he's Brazilian. The only reason you're a defender in Brazil is if you're not good enough in attack. No kid in Brazil wakes up and goes, Mum, I want to be a centre-back. They don't. Sorry. I mean, they do have great defenders, but surely every young Brazilian kid on the street, when they're playing football on the streets or on the beach, everyone wants to play in attack. And McTominay is not that dude either. McTominay will never be that dude. He will be a good squad player for Manchester United, and it will never go any further than that. Easy. In terms of signings we will make, this is a weird one. Daniel Backman. Manchester United in talks to sign Watford's second choice goalkeeper. I mean, shit me, I could not care any less about signing that. I mean, Al, that really is a pipe dream. Fat chance of that happening. West Ham, again, West Ham doing what Sancho did, what Dortmund did with Sancho, what Ajax are now doing this summer with Antony and Martinez. They know that he's not worth 150 million. They're pricing him out of a move because that's how much he's worth to them. And they'd rather keep him for another year than sell him for a value that they think is under, than sell him this year for 100 million, 90 million. I don't know how much he's actually worth, but it's way overpriced. You'll see that the Rice stories went boop very early on in this transfer window because you realized, oh shit, West Ham aren't messing around. They really are just going to hold out for 150 mil. It's like if Man United tried this summer, if we went all out to try and sign Jude Bellingham, do you have any idea how much that would cost? That would be an outrageous amount of money because Dortmund don't want to sell Jude Bellingham this year. They want to sell him next year. Haaland's already left. They're not going to lose Haaland and Bellingham in the same summer. Same with Rice and West Ham. They don't want to lose him. So that's why they put such a ridiculous price tag on his head. Something else that's happened today is it looks like we're not going to be signing Malcolm Ebiowei. He's set to sign his contract with Crystal Palace after medicals have been completed. He's not coming to United either. Now, I don't know whether I'm seeing reports. I don't know whether they're true or not. They're probably not true. Reports maybe that Manchester United's interest in Ebiowei was leaked so that John Murtough could get a grasp of who's leaking things in the club. That's some conspiracy theory, that is. But Manchester United, we didn't go after. Well, not that we didn't go after him, but we're not getting him. Malcolm Ebiowei, it looks like he's going to Crystal Palace, and they've signed an exciting young player. Fair play to them. Is that another sign of failure? Let's be honest, in terms of conditions of the club, he's probably going to get more opportunities there. Crystal Palace is a good club, man. Vieira played some good football last year. If he came to Manchester United, he would be nothing but a bit part player. He does have more of an opportunity to develop inside the Premier League environment under Vieira at Crystal Palace at the age of 18 than he would under Erik Ten Hag in his first season at Manchester United. That's just facts. I know you can try and slack, this is Man United getting rejected yet again. He's going to go there. If he does well, he goes there for 2 years, gets a bumper move to another club at the age of 20. Simple as that. Let me go down here. Apparently I missed Super Chat. Let me go up and scroll up here. Sorry, man. There's so many comments coming in today. It's ridiculous. Where is it? Is that one up there? There he is. Estevo. In other words, stay calm because Ten Hag's taking his time to make sure he gets it right. We need to back him, and that includes the process. His process is not take all the time in the world to sign De Jong. His process is make sure you sign De Jong. First and foremost, I don't care what comes next. Well, I do care what comes next, but I want De Jong. Get it done. That's his process. Anything past that is not his process. He's not asking Manchester United to haggle, to dither, to take their sweet time over signing De Jong. He just wants it done. And I can't imagine what the conversation is going to be like. Of course, you know. But when Erik Ten Hag, in 3 days' time, he's back at Manchester United. He'll start training with the likes of Marcus Rashford, I believe, Jadon Sancho. We're going to get the first pictures of Erik Ten Hag training as Manchester United's coach. And it's going to be exciting. There will be some buzz. But if he goes there and there's no sign, look, maybe there will be. Next 3 days, we still got 3 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 4 days until he arrives on Monday. Can we get a deal done this weekend? Absolutely. But things need to start happening. Fred, as I said, in my opinion, this is not one to lose your shit over, all right? I know we like to get offended by everything, but this is not, in my opinion, a situation where anybody really needs to lose their mind. He's an 18-year-old kid who will play regular first-team football at Crystal Palace instead of being a bit part side player who watches from the bench at Manchester United. Therefore, where is he going to develop more at this point in his career? Crystal Palace. What will happen? If he does well, he'll go to Crystal Palace, play there for 2 years, and move on when he's the age of 20. And he's a far more rounded and Premier League experienced player. This is not really the time to get offended by that, my opinion. And it's just that had we signed everybody that we needed to, that wouldn't be an issue, because we haven't signed anybody. That's now another example of Manchester United fucking it all up. Chris, Sam, do you feel the reason we've struggled to sign players is partly due to the fact that we failed to qualify? You would presume so, because this is the summer where Manchester United are finally, by the looks of things, trying to rein things in. I don't think that everybody will get in. There won't be like outrageous contract offers going out. If Frenkie de Jong joins, he'll probably be getting on par with what he had at Barcelona or less, because he's on a ridiculous amount of money at Barca, to be fair. This isn't going to be a summer where we can just lure players in by offering them huge wages and bumper contracts. It's a summer where we have to try and change that policy, which I think is probably making it a little bit more difficult for us. And he's saying, Sam, the Arnold video, he seemed to imply that he doesn't know what the hell is taking Murto so long either. Of course, it's going to be a lack of experience. And it brings me on to the most important point, I would say, of today's video, which I've waited until the end here for, because I'm going to be doing a video separately on it. Actually, it's someone saying down there that Fabrizio said something quite important. Don't know why my accent switched there, but it did. Let me go down here and see what it is. If it's true, there you go. It is true. Here we go. And this is why it went all quiet on the Western Front with Christopher Nkunku. Official and confirmed. He's extended his contract with Leipzig until 2026. Deal now signed and sealed. There's a release clause included in the new deal for 60 million euros. So Nkunku has done, let's be completely honest here, an extremely smart thing. Him and his agent have effectively gone, you've seen what's happened with Haaland this year, right? He had a release clause stuck in his contract for 75 million euros. Did you see how much him and his agents and the signing on fee were worth this summer? It took that to around about 100 million, I think it was. Ridiculous amount of money on top of it. And Nkunku there has done a very smart thing. He's now staying here. He's staying at Leipzig, and he knows that he can be released for 60 million euros. I mean, shit the bed. Wait, that is it. I told you. I absolutely said that next summer, there will be another Nunez. There'll be somebody else who has a breakthrough season, who gets 30-odd goals. If Nkunku repeats that, he'll be a step above that. It'll be like Real Madrid going sniffing around him. But he's going to be leaving the year after. 60 million euros. Can we just start the conversations now? My word. Absolute bargain. But look, this is the conversation that I want to have to finish the stream today, and the conversation that I will be focusing on the video I'm doing at lunchtime today. Sammy Mockbell for the Daily Mail saying that Manchester United are interested in signing Michael Edwards. Now, we'd all know who Michael Edwards is. He was the man who not transformed single-handedly Liverpool, but he was a man really responsible for all the great signings, not on his own for all the great signings they made, but he was the transfer guru, if you want to call him that, who helped make all those happen. And that is the position where Manchester United, simply put, cannot fix from within, cannot change. John Murto cannot do that. I still think that I'm fine with John Murto being there. I think a lot of stuff has happened behind the scenes under his watch that I completely agree with. I disagree with him taking on the shouldering the responsibility of leading our transfer negotiations, because it is a language in itself. It is an environment which clearly has become so difficult with the rise of players' power, with the rise of agents, with the rise of everybody influencing a deal. That's why you need somebody full-time focused on it. And Chelsea, they're going to be sniffing around him because they got rid of Maria. Can't remember the second name. I know it's long. They're sort of sporting director, if you want to call it that. This is what we need. This is probably the single most important signing we could make this summer. I don't think it will happen this summer, personally. but we're hearing more reports about it. And look, you know what I thought about Paul Mitchell before. I don't think Paul Mitchell was ever going to come in and work in an environment underneath John Murtough in terms of the power structure. Ultimately, that didn't happen. But Michael Edwards, I'm going to do a bit of research into why he left Liverpool. I think it was just a case of a bit like Mane joined Bayern Munich. It was like, yeah, I'm done here. Cool. All right. See you later. Nothing bad, but he just felt like he was done. But if Paul Mitchell had come in, I don't think Manchester United would be in this position. I think the whole process would have been far more streamlined. It's like getting somebody in to decorate your house and it's his second day on the job. He might be good. He may well be good. But fuck, he'll take his time. He'll make a load of mistakes. The finished product might be what you want, but you're going to have to wait an extra 6 weeks for it. Just unfortunately, for Manchester United, there is a finite amount of time. And I keep saying that. Time is the commodity that Manchester United do not understand the value of and haven't understood the value of. And it's the thing that always bites us in the arse. Chris, you're saying, look, morning, Sam, listen to you this morning with my dad. He's a fan for 63 years. Doesn't care who we sign as long as we start playing good football. Well, that's a much simpler way to think, isn't it? And it's all we want next season. And that's why it's exciting to think that Ten Hag is coming in on Monday and we're going to start seeing some training videos. We're going to start seeing some drills. We're going to start seeing Ten Hag working his magic. Because I tell you what, he really is going to improve everybody inside that squad. But there are too many gaps for him to fill without getting new signings. It's breath of fresh air that we are now expecting. Chat, we need to look outside the club. Do we expect... Sorry, actually, I have no idea what that comment even means. People, make sure you read your comments before you press enter, because if you do it all over the shop, I won't be able to read it. Happens quite a lot. Look, I'm going to wrap up for today because I'll answer your questions for the next 2 minutes. Anybody got any questions you want to ask me, things I haven't answered, you let me know in the comments. Please drop a like on the video if you're new. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure, I think you can send in some stars now. I'm still trying to get my head around what stars are. I think it's the same sort of thing as a YouTube super chat. It's your way of supporting the community. And as I say, I always do invest it back in. I've still got lots of giveaways to do. Joseph, I'm going to get your shirt sent out today. Maybe I'll do a shirt giveaway tomorrow. Solid. I will. So make sure you join in on the Friday stream. No idea how I'll do it, but I will do it. Where's Barry? Barry's sitting there. Barry's sitting there waiting. I don't want Barry to come out in this environment, this frustrated environment. Honestly. Because I don't know. It's just a personal opinion. I just don't think that we should be doing it. Nah, I don't think Barry would suit this environment.
We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway.
Jonathan, I love how much you don't like Barry. I love how much you don't like Barry. Come on. Put a smile on your face. Someone's got to make us smile. I'll tell you that. Michael, what are you saying down here? You're saying, are you optimistic that we can agree on one deal before Monday? Hey, shit, I can't be optimistic of that. I really can't at this particular moment in time. It's based on hope rather than optimism at this point. I hope that we can get that done by Monday. And if it's going to be anybody, it's going to be Frenkie de Jong, right? It will be Frenkie de Jong. Do you have a deadline in terms of the transformation at the club? Yeah, it's the 6th of August, right? That's the first game of the season. We need to get this all done before. We've got 4 or 5 games in the first month. We can't still be making signings coming towards deadline day. That's just taking away nearly 10% of the season. No, more than 10% of the season. It's going to be played in August. You really want Erik ten Hag to go into that situation without the signings? Jet Sigmund, interest rates affecting United. Are we still paying wages on any players that have left the club? I don't know what we're doing. We're still paying Martial's wages. We were paying quite a lot of them last year as well. Jeez. And you're breaking out the beers to commiserate when we are sat here saying the same thing on deadline day. My God, we need stronger than beers. We're doing that on deadline day. Thank you very much, Daisy. Podcast. Yeah, episode 8 went out this week. It was a real chat about Richard Arnold and everything to do with that. And as I always say, like, I'll leave the link in the comments. I don't like to spam it too much, but I really am. I like the podcast. I like the fact that we've made it old school. We do it once a week. It's audio only. It's what podcasts should be. It's what podcasts are. So if you do want to listen to it, going for a walk, it's a nice listen, I think. So anyway, but look, thank you very much, everybody, for joining in today. I'm going to get my video out at lunchtime. I'm going to focus on this transfer guru. I think it's a really important conversation that we've got to have. And I genuinely think it's the most important signing that we could make this summer. More important than any signing we can make on the pitch. is a signing we need to make off the pitch in that transfer negotiator, because without that, we can't truly rebuild this club. That's how much of a difference I think that person will make. But thank you all for joining in. I hope that we at some point can come here and we're not full of frustration. But today, I have to admit, I can't ignore the elephant in the room anymore. The fears are starting to sort of come to fruition. With everything that Ajax have done by selling Haller, they might sell Alvarez. They've already sold Gravenberch. I don't think they're going to be in a position where they need to negotiate this summer. Therefore, United are going to have to cough up over market value for Martinez and Antony. I don't think we'll do that. I think we've therefore got to sign one of them. Which one would you choose? We'll have a conversation about that. But thank you all for joining in, and I'll see you soon.